Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers. I'm looking at a book this morning from the Legal Action Group. It's one of a series of books they produced. This one is Repairs, Tenants' Rights, and a fourth edition by Luba, Queen's Counsel, Deirdre Forster and Beatrice Prevatt. It's an important book, and it's an area of law which many people do come into contact with. I've written a review with my wife Elizabeth, and this is on Flickr. This is the book itself. It's very much a standard legal action group structured book. You've got an introduction and then various chapters dealing with specific issues. Then you've got the appendices at the back, which is quite useful, and an index. Now, we've given it a title which I think is quite an interesting one. Renting, or advising people who do, read this book on repairs. And in the current market, in the current economy, being the way it is, this is an important area for us all to be aware of. We start the review in this way by saying, reminds us of an opera. We're referring, of course, to La Boheme, in which bohemian writers and artists, beautifully abandoned women, starve in garrets and dine on scraps with tiny frozen hands in mid-19th century Paris. The garrets in which they're starving are offered, in modern parlance, substandard housing, in dire need of, you guessed it, repairs. The block capitals we put in the review of repairs makes it stand out. They're deliberate, and it's the title of the latest book from LAG, and we think extremely apt. It's fortunate we live in 21st century Britain, not 19th century Paris. The question is, or are we? Many of us own our own homes, or if renting, we may well rent from responsible landlords, or trusts or authorities, but appallingly, there are still 2.3 million homes in this country which are substandard and in dire need of repair, even in the midst of relative affluence and following almost countless attempts at implementing legislation with teeth to address the problem. The repairs issue remains. It's one I dealt with on a regular basis as a counsellor. Recent developments in this matter, certainly since 1999, have been summarised in a short overview, and it looks at the rented housing accommodation is concerned mainly with disrepair and other adverse conditions of almost every imaginable kind, and you've got to see it to believe it. Certainly if you're an elected member, you've got to go and have a look. There have been documented improvements, and obviously I'm grateful to the authors for what they've produced here, but housing disrepair remains unfinished business, not only in the privately rented sector, but also in many parts of social housing. The latest data available reveals that there are about 1.2 million non-decent privately rented homes and 1.1 million socially rented homes that are in that predicament. And the issue appears to be one that fails the decent home standard, because obviously they contain the highest category 1 hazards. That's why we need this fourth edition, just to highlight the problems. So repairs is a light on legal theory but heavy on practicalities, and deliberately so. The text is supported by a useful set of precedents and working examples, and obviously it covers all stages of the court process. There's technical information too, not too much, on various forms of and causes of disrepair, like the 5 types of damp. So like other publications from LAG, and their growing library of these practitioner and advice guides, it's distinguished for its plain speaking, accuracy and ease of use. Thank you very much to LAG for that. It's to be highly recommended in our view as essential reading for all professions dealing directly or indirectly with housing issues and problems in the rented sector, both public and private. And I'll say as a conclusion, I hope a few council officials read it too. Thank you very much indeed to all of you for this. Bye bye.